Hello fellow nerds. Today I am going to try something new. Some of you suggested I read about sea monsters and add underwater sounds to it. So that's the plan for today. I have picked the dragon turtle to start with from the Dungeons & Dragons monster manual. So let's get right into it. Make yourself comfortable and relax. Dragon turtles are among the most fearsome creatures of the oceans. As large and voracious as the oldest of its land-based dragonkin, a dragon turtle strikes with its deadly jaws, steaming breath, and crushing tail. A dragon turtle's rough shell is the same dark green color as the deep water where this monster dwells. Silver highlights lining the shell resemble light dancing on open water, and the surfacing dragon turtle is sometimes mistaken for the reflection of the sun or moon on the waves. Dragons of the deep. Like a true dragon, dragon turtles collect treasure, first by sinking ships, and then by sifting through the wreckage for coins and other precious items. A dragon turtle swallows treasure for transport, then regurgitates it when it reaches its lair. Dragon turtles dwell in caves hidden in coral reefs, or beneath the sea floor, or along rugged stretches of coastline. If a choice cave is already inhabited, a dragon turtle attacks its current residents in an attempt to take over. Mercenary monsters. A dragon turtle is smart enough to be bribed, and pirates sailing seas patrolled by these creatures quickly learn to offer them treasure in exchange for safe passage. Clever saguarin sometimes ally with dragon turtles, enticing them with treasure to use their blistering breath weapons in saguarin raids against ships and coastal settlements. Elemental might. Dragon turtles sometimes find their way through sunken planar rifts to the elemental plane of water. Those monstrous specimens can often be found in the service of merits, which strap magnificent coral thrones to the backs of dragon turtles and ride them as mounts. Now let's have a look at its stat block. A dragon turtle is a gargantuan dragon with a neutral alignment. Its armor class is 20. It has 341 or 22 d20 plus 110 hit points. It has a swimming feet of 40 feet and a walking speed of 20 feet. It has 25 points in strength with a modifier of +7. It has 10 points in dexterity with a modifier of 0. It has 20 points in constitution with a modifier of +5. Its intelligence is a 10 with a modifier of 0. It has 12 points each in wisdom and charisma with a modifier of +1. It gains +5 on dexterity saving throws, +10 on constitution saving throws, and +6 on wisdom saving throws. It is resistant to fire damage. It has 120 feet dark vision and a passive perception of 11. It is fluent in Aquan and Draconic. It has a challenge rating of 17, and you would gain 18,000 experience points from defeating it. Amphibious. The dragon turtle can breathe air and water. Actions. Multi-attack. My favorite. The dragon turtle makes 3 attacks, 1 with its bite and 2 with its claws. It can make 1 tail attack in place of its 2 claw attacks. Bite. Melee weapon attack. Plus 12 to hit. Reach 15 feet. 1 target only. On a hit, it deals 26 or 3d12 plus 7 piercing damage. Claw, melee weapon attack, plus 12 to hit with a reach of 10 feet. 1 target only. On a hit, it causes 16 or 2d8 plus 7 slashing damage. Tail, melee weapon attack, plus 12 to hit, with a reach of 15 feet, 1 target only. On a hit, it causes 26 or 3d12 plus 7 bludgeoning damage. If the target is a creature, it must succeed on a DC 20 strength saving throw or be pushed up to 10 feet away from the dragon turtle and knocked prone. Steam breath. Recharge 5 to 6. The dragon turtle exhales scalding steam in a 60-foot cone. Each creature in that area must make a DC 18 Constitution saving throw, taking 52 or 15d6 fire damage on a fail save, or half as much damage on a successful one. Being underwater doesn't grant resistance against this damage. Moving on to the next creature for today, the Kraken. Beneath the waves, the Kraken sleeps for untold ages, awaiting some fell sign or calling. Land-born mortals who sail the open sea forget the reasons their ancestors dreaded the ocean, even as the races of the deep ignore strange gaps in their histories when their civilizations nearly vanished after the appearance of the tentacled horror. Leviathans of legend. At the beginning of time, Krakens served as fierce warriors of the gods. When the gods' wars ended, the Krakens shrugged free of their servitude, never again to be bound by other beings. Whole nations quake in fear when the Kraken emerges from its dark demesne. And even in the middle of the deepest oceans, storms rise or abate according to its will. The Kraken is a primeval force that obliterates the greatest achievements of civilization as if they were castles in the sand. Its devastating attacks can destroy ocean trade and halt communication between coastal cities. An ominous darkness presages a Kraken's attack, and a cloud of inky poison colors the water around it. galleons and warships vanish when its tentacles uncoil from the deep. The Kraken breaking their masts like kindling before drawing down ships and crew. Not even landlocked surface dwellers are safe from a Kraken's wrath. Krakens can breathe air as easily as water, and some crawl up rivers to nest in freshwater lakes, destroying cities and towns along the way. Adventurers tell of these monsters lairing in the ruins of lakeside citadels, their tentacles twined around leaning towers of disintegrating stone. Mortal foes. Some Krakens are virtual gods, with cults and minions spread across sea and land. Others are allied with Olhydra, the evil princess of elemental water, and use her cultists to enforce their will on land and sea. A Kraken pleased with its worshippers can become rough seas and bring a bounteous harvest of fish to the faithful. However, the devious mind of a Kraken is ancient beyond reckoning, and is ultimately bent to the ruination of all things. A Kraken's lair. A Kraken lives in a dark depth, usually a sunken rift or a cavern filled with detritus, treasure, and wrecked ships. Lair actions. On initiative count 20, losing initiative ties, the Kraken takes a lair action to cause one of the following magical effects. A strong current moves through the Kraken's lair. Each creature within 60 feet of the Kraken must succeed on a DC 23 strength saving throw or be pushed up to 60 feet away from the Kraken. On a success, the creature is pushed 10 feet away from the Kraken. Creatures in the water within 60 feet of the Kraken have vulnerability to lightning damage until initiative count 20 on the next round. The water in the Kraken's lair becomes electrically charged. All creatures within 120 feet of the Kraken must succeed on a DC 23 Constitution saving throw, taking 10 or 3d6 lightning damage on a failed save, or half as much damage on a successful one. Regional effects. The region containing a Kraken's lair is warped by the creature's blasphemous presence, creating the following magical effects. The Kraken can alter the weather at will in a 6-mile radius centered on its lair. The effect is identical to the control weather spell. Water elementals coalesce within 6 miles of the lair. These elementals can't leave the water and have intelligence and charisma scores of 1, with a modifier of -5. Aquatic creatures within 6 miles of the lair that have an intelligence score of 2 or lower are charmed by the Kraken and aggressive towards intruders in the area. When the Kraken dies, all of these regional effects fade immediately. Now, let's have a look at the stat block. A Kraken is a gargantuan monstrosity, a titan. It is chaotic evil. It has a natural armor of 18 and 472 or 27d20 plus 189 hit points. It has a walking speed of 20 feet and a swimming speed of 60 feet. It has 30 points in strength with a modifier of 10. It has 11 points in dexterity with a modifier of 0. It has 25 points in constitution with a modifier of +7. It has 22 points in intelligence with a modifier of +6. It has 18 points in wisdom with a modifier of +4 and 20 points in charisma with a modifier of +5. It has +18 on strength saving throws, +8 on dexterity saving throws, +15 on constitution saving throws, +14 on intelligence saving throws, and +12 on wisdom saving throws. It has the following damage immunities: lightning, bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical weapons. It has 2 condition immunities. It can't be frightened or paralyzed. It has 120 feet true sight and a passive perception of 14. It understands abyssal, celestial, infernal, and primordial, but can't speak. Instead, it uses telepathy within 120 feet. It has a challenge rating of 23, and should you succeed on defeating it, you would gain 50,000 experience points. The Kraken can breathe air and water. The Kraken ignores difficult terrain, and magical effects can't reduce its speed or cause it to be restrained. It can spend 5 feet of movement to escape from non-magical restraints or being grappled. The Kraken deals double damage to objects and structures. Actions: multi-attack. The Kraken makes 3 tentacle attacks, each of which it can replace with 1 use of fling. Bite, melee weapon attack, +18 to hit, with a reach of 5 feet, 1 target only. On a hit, it causes 23 or 3d8 +10 piercing damage. If the target is a large or smaller creature grappled by the Kraken, that creature is swallowed and the grapple ends. While swallowed, the creature is blinded and restrained. It has total cover against attacks and other effects outside the Kraken, and it takes 42 or 12d6 acid damage at the start of each of the Kraken's turns. If the Kraken takes 50 damage or more on a single turn from a creature inside it, the Kraken must succeed on a DC 25 Constitution saving throw at the end of that turn, or regurgitate all swallowed creatures, which fall prone in a space within 10 feet of the Kraken. If the Kraken dies, a swallowed creature is no longer restrained by it and can escape from the corpse using 15 feet of movement exiting prone. Tentacle, melee weapon attack, +18 to hit with a reach of 30 feet, 1 target only. On a hit, it causes 20 or 3d6 +10 bludgeoning damage, and the target is grappled with an escape DC of 18. Until this grapple ends, the target is restrained. The Kraken has 10 tentacles, each of which can grapple one target. Fling. One large or smaller object held or creature grappled by the Kraken is thrown up to 60 feet in a random direction and knocked prone. If a thrown target strikes a solid surface, the target takes 3 or 1d6 bludgeoning damage for every 10 feet it was thrown. If the target is thrown at another creature, that creature must succeed on a DC 18 dexterity saving throw or take the same damage and be knocked prone. Lightning Storm. The Kraken magically creates 3 bolts of lightning, each of which can strike a target the Kraken can see within 120 feet of it. A target must make a DC 23 dexterity saving throw, taking 22 or 4d10 lightning damage on a failed save, or half as much on a successful one. Legendary actions. The Kraken can take 3 legendary actions, choosing from the options below. Only one legendary action option can be used at a time, and only at the end of another creature's turn. The Kraken regains spent legendary actions at the start of its turn. Tentacle attack or fling. The Kraken makes 1 tentacle attack or uses its fling. Lightning Storm costs 2 actions. The Kraken uses Lightning Storm. Ink Cloud costs 3 actions. While underwater, the Kraken expels an ink cloud in a 60-foot radius. The cloud spreads around corners, and that area is heavily obscured to creatures other than the Kraken. Each creature other than the Kraken that ends its turn there must succeed on a DC 23 Constitution saving throw, taking 16 or 3d10 poison damage on a failed save, or half as much damage on a successful one. A strong current disperses the cloud, which otherwise disappeared at the end of the Kraken's next turn. We have time for one more sea creature, the Kuo Toa. Kuo Toa are degenerate fish-like humanoids that once inhabited the shores and islands of the surface world. Long ago, humans and their ilk drove the Kuo Toa underground, where they dwell in madness and everlasting night. Kuo Toa can no longer abide daylight. At the height of the Illithid Empire, the Mind Flayers captured Kuo Toa by the thousands and forced them into bondage. The Kuo Toa were simple creatures, never meant to endure the oppressive mental force the Illithids unleashed against them. By the time the Mind Flayers abandoned them, the prolonged psychic subjugation endured by the Kuo Toa had driven them mad. Their minds shattered beyond repair. The Kuo Toa adopted a religious fervor, inventing gods to protect them against threats. Most notable of these threats are the Drow, which have slain the Kuo Toa on sight since the days when the two races first met. Kuo Toa worship gods of their own insane creation. But if enough Kuo Toa believe that a god is real, the energy of their collective subconscious can cause that god to manifest as a physical entity. The form a Kuo Toa god takes depends on the inspiration for its divine image and is usually random or nonsensical. One of the most revered gods of the Kuo Toa is Blip Dol Polp, the sea mother, who takes the form of a female human with a crayfish head and a crayfish claws and an articulated shell covering her shoulders. She was likely invented by a Kuo Toa that improved on a broken human statue by adding the limbs and head of a crustacean. In sudden awe of its handiwork, it then named the resulting form a god. Kuo Toa that cross paths with an aboleth often find themselves worshipping it as a god, their madness blinding them to the fact that the aboleth is merely using them for its own nefarious ends. Kuo Toa archpriests are surrounded by fanatical devotees of their faith. The archpriest of a Kuo Toa domain demands that all its subjects worship a specific god. An archpriest's mad belief in its god is so fervent that it manifests the powers of a high cleric. The archpriest can also bestow spells to devout underlings called whips. One or more of these whips are also the archpriest's children, Jesus, and their primary role in Kuo Toan society is to fight to the death to claim the throne when the archpriest dies. If a whip displeases the archpriest can strip it of its spellcasting ability, if not its life. The archpriest decrees are enforced by monitors, devout Kuo Toa, that act as the archpriest's eyes and ears. Monitors are deadly hand-to-hand combatants, and lesser Kuo Toa live in fear of them. Many weapons of the Kuo Toa are designed to capture rather than kill. Nets are common, though some carry pincer staffs, also called man-catchers, designed to trap and immobilize foes. Kuo Toa warriors also treat their shields with a sticky goo that catches incoming weapons. In general, they don't like the weight of armor on their slippery bodies and rely on their natural rubbery hides for protection. However, they like to wear jewelry made from scavenged bones, shells, pearls, gems, and carapace fragments. There were a lot of tongue twisters in that section. Moving on to the stat blocks. Kuo Toa are medium humanoids with a neutral evil alignment. Their armor class is a 13, made up from natural armor and shield. They have 18 or 48 hit points. They have a walking and swimming speed of 30 feet. Kuo Toa has a strength of 13 with a modifier of +1, 10 points in dexterity with a modifier of 0, 11 points in constitution and intelligence with a modifier of 0, 10 points in wisdom with a modifier of 0, and 8 points in charisma with a modifier of -1. It has +4 on perception. It has 120 feet dark vision and a passive perception of 14. It speaks and understands Undercommon. It has a challenge rating of 1/4 or 50 XP. The Kuo Toa can breathe air and water. Otherworldly perception. The Kuo Toa can sense the presence of any creature within 30 feet of it that is invisible or on the ethereal plane. It can pinpoint such a creature that is moving. Slippery. The Kuo Toa has advantage on ability checks and saving throws made to escape a grapple. Sunlight sensitivity. While in sunlight, the Kuo Toa has disadvantage on attack rolls as well as on wisdom perception checks that rely on sight. Actions. Bite, melee weapon attack, +3 to hit with a reach of 5 feet, one target only. On a hit, it causes 3 or 1d4 +1 piercing damage. Spear, melee or ranged weapon attack, +3 to hit with a reach of 5 feet or a range of 20 to 60 feet, one target only. On a hit, it causes 4 or 1d6 +1 piercing damage, or 5 or 1d8 +1 piercing damage if used with 2 hands to make a melee attack. Net, ranged weapon attack, +3 to hit with a range of 5 to 15 feet, one large or smaller creature. Hit, the target is restrained. The creature can use its action to make a DC 10 strength check to free itself, or another creature in a net, ending the effect on a success. Dealing 5 slashing damage to the net AC 10, frees the target without harming it and destroys the net. Reactions. Sticky shield. When a creature misses the Kuo Toa with a melee weapon attack, it uses its sticky shield to catch the weapon. The attacker must succeed on DC 11 strength saving throw, or the weapon becomes stuck to the Kuo Toa's shield. If the weapon's wielder can't or won't let go of the weapon, the wielder is grappled while the weapon is stuck. While stuck, the weapon can't be used. A creature can pull the weapon free by taking an action to make a DC 11 strength check and succeeding. Kuo Toa Archpriest. Medium humanoid, neutral evil. It has a natural armor of 13 and 97 or 13d8 plus 39 hit points. It has a swimming and walking speed of 30 feet. It has 16 points in strength with a modifier of +3, 14 points in dexterity with a modifier of +2, 16 points in constitution with a modifier of +3, 13 points in intelligence with a modifier of +1, 16 points in wisdom with a modifier of +3, and 14 points in charisma with a modifier of +2. It has +9 on perception and +6 on religion. It has 120 feet dark vision and a passive perception of 19. It speaks and understands Undercommon. It has a challenge rating of 6, and you would gain 2300 XP from defeating it. The Kuo Toa can breathe air and water. Kuo Toa can sense the presence of any creature within 30 feet of it, if that creature is invisible or on the ethereal plane. It can pinpoint such a creature that is moving. It has also the slippery effect and the sunlight sensitivity as a regular Kuo Toa. Spellcasting. The Kuo Toa archpriest is a 10th level spellcaster. Its spellcasting ability is Wisdom, with a spell save DC of 14, plus 6 to hit with spell attacks. The Kuo Toa has the following cleric spells prepared: Cantrips, Guidance, Sacred Flame, and Thaumaturgy. First level with 4 slots: Detect Magic, Sanctuary, and Shield of Faith. Second level with 3 slots: Hold Person and Spiritual Weapon. Third level: Spirit Guardians and Tongues. Fourth level: Control Water and Divination. Fifth level with 2 slots: Mass Cure Wounds and Scrying. Action: Multi-attack. The Kuo Toa makes 2 melee attacks. Scepter, melee weapon attack, plus 6 to hit with a reach of 5 feet, 1 target. Hit, 6 or 1d6 plus 3 bludgeoning damage plus 14 or 4d6 lightning damage. Unarmed strike, melee weapon attack, plus 6 to hit, with a reach of 5 feet, 1 target only. Hit, 4 or 1d4 plus 2 bludgeoning damage. The Kuo Toa Whip is a medium humanoid with a neutral evil alignment. It has a natural armor class of 11 and 65 or 1d8 plus 20 hit points. Its swimming and walking speed is 30 feet. It has 14 points in strength with a modifier of plus 2, 10 points in dexterity with a modifier of 0, 14 points in constitution with a modifier of plus 2, 12 points in intelligence and a modifier of plus 1, 14 points in wisdom with a modifier of plus 2, and lastly 11 points in charisma with a modifier of 0. It has plus 6 on perception and plus 4 on religion. It has 120 feet dark vision and a passive perception of 16. It also speaks and understands Undercommon. And it has a challenge rating of 1, and you would get 200 XP on defeating it. Just like any other Kuo Toa, it is amphibious. It has otherworldly perception. It has the slippery feet and is sensitive to sunlight. Spellcasting. The Kuo Toa Whip is a 2nd level spellcaster. Its spellcasting ability is Wisdom, with a spell save DC of 12 and plus 4 to hit with spell attacks. It has the following cleric spells prepared: Cantrips, Sacred Flame and Thaumaturgy. First level with 3 slots: Bane and Shield of Faith. Actions: Multi-attack. The Kuo Toa makes 2 attacks, one with its bite and one with its pincer staff. Bite, melee weapon attack, +4 to hit with a reach of 5 feet, one target only. On a hit, it causes 4 or 1d4 +2 piercing damage. Pincer staff, also a melee weapon attack, +4 to hit with a reach of 10 feet, one target. Hit 5 or 1d6 +2 piercing damage. If the target is a medium or smaller creature, it is grappled. Escape DC 14. Until this grapple ends, the Kuo Toa whip can't use its pincer staff on another target. Oh, that was quite something. I have never paid any attention to underwater creatures or sea creatures in general. I generally don't like underwater settings, even though I like underwater sounds. I remember from my earliest childhood on hating the underwater levels in Mario or whatever, or the dreaded water temple in Zelda or Ocarina of Time. God, that gave me flashbacks. Yeah, I don't like underwater settings. Sorry. Anyway, that was still fun. I do apologize for tripping over my own tongue during the Kuo Toa section. I was so focused on not saying Ukatoa that I forgot anything else. Anyway, I hope you found this relaxing as always. Thank you very much for spending your time with me. And if you're just starting your day, I hope you have a wonderful day. And if you're going to sleep, I wish you pleasant dreams. See you again next time. Bye bye, fellow nerd.